Or is it? Dun, dun, dun.
All right, there we go. Ta-da, fixed. It's a new year. Hello. This is Dirty 20 Gaming. My name is Kevin. Technical difficulties persist into the 2023, and here we freaking go. The wonderful people joining us this evening are, we've got a smaller crew this evening, but let's start with playing Lester Moore for us, Shadow, also known as Shadowmancer. Whereabouts can we find you? What else are you doing?
Primarily, I'm found on this channel on Thursdays and Sundays. Thursday nights, Deviant Futures, which I believe this week we will not be airing.
Yep.
And
That's the
then
current plan.
Sundays is Gorgeous Theta. Did I say that one right?
Yep.
All right.
Yes. Those are both a lot of fun.
Puja on Thursdays and Gerard Saint-Germain on Sundays.
Nice. Moving quickly along because I want to get into this game. Toot the Sweet. Playing Edward for us. Mudkip / Nick. Welcome to the show. What else are you up to?
I'm up to is trying to keep up with Discord messages occasionally. There's a lot of them, but there's only like 50 or 100 some days, but that's fine. But I'm also here on the Thursday game, which should be back next week. And that's where we get ourselves in more trouble than probably we do in the Wild West, although we were already like ditched by Apollo. That's fine. So, Marshall, what do you do when you're not here?
I don't exist when I'm not here. No, just kidding. Well, kind of. You'll find me mostly modding around other streams. On Fridays with my lovely wife, Blaze of Gloriosa, we do bad movie nights where we watch terrible movies. Only one of which, thus far in history, we haven't actually been able to make it through. Otherwise, everything else we've actually pushed through, even such movies as Monstered and Terror at Blood Fart Lake. That aside, I'm here running this game on Tuesdays, and coming soon, there may be something else that you will see me and some other special people in. But we won't talk more about that until it's ready to go. Otherwise, it's me and Marshall Hat here. We're ready to get this rolling.
Excellent. I'm really quickly going to jump in for a second because I didn't do me. I was going to do me first. But we're back. It is a new year. So we are, at the moment, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday this week. Yep, we got a one-shot that didn't finish in one shot. So I saw a phrase the other day, a few shot. I really like this. We do few shots now, one or a couple. So Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The only day we're not streaming this week is Monday, and we're going to fix that because that is a project about which we can speak no more at this time. Best part about being in this industry is you get to say stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But with that, Marshall, if you would take us back in time, not only in game but also in reality, to a bit of railroad track by a forest.
Of course. When we left our intrepid adventurers, or chaos gremlins, depending on how you look at things. They just recently they'd pulled off the heist. They had stolen the little part of the train that had the treasure cart. Turned out it was actually a treasure cart. They found the heart of Odin, and as many of them had called but could not prevent, they were screwed over by Honest John Rackham. Left not necessarily for dead, but left without any real goodies from the heist because John stole them all, took all their horses, and left them paralyzed long enough to make good his escape. After the paralysis wore off and everybody kind of could move again and the muscle cramps and pins and needles went away, because I assure you there were lots of those even in places you've never experienced pins and needles before. Or maybe you have. I'm not kink shaming. Vixen, your lovely gunslinger, decided that was it. She came out of her hunting and everything to try and pull this job off and work with other people, and it turned out pretty much how she expected, and she was done. She left. One half of the siblings, Edelweiss, had to go with her, just went with her maybe to try and convince her, maybe to see if she could get her to finish a delivery for them. Business goes on, even in something like this. And before we really launch into anything, because I know how Bang is, Bang, I need you to give me a notice roll with advantage.
With
+2.
advantage, it's still
Yep.
not good. So that's +2, you say, and I get the
Yep.
wild die, right?
Yep.
So a 6.
Okay. You don't hear anything anymore.
I'm used to being deaf. I've been real close to a lot of
No, no.
explosions. Is it that?
No, I mean the ghost rock isn't talking to you anymore.
The backpack is like off and on the ground, open and face right in it.
It's all there,
Hello, hello,
but
hello,
it looks
hello, mwah, mwah, hello. I love you. You look great in that dress. No, your ass doesn't look big.
it looks oddly calcified, as though something vital had been just drained from all of it.
I will rip out that bastard's heart and shit in his chest. Oh, I'm going to climb up his ass and explode. And he just loses the ability to speak. There's just spit and rage pouring down his face.
Yep. Do you elucidate as to what? Well, no, I don't think he's coherent enough. To actually tell
I don't even
anybody.
think he knows really yet. But for practical purposes, my ghost rock is dead. The stuff in my
Yes.
bag. Okay.
Yes, Edward, if you have any, whatever ghost rock, dust, or whatever you have on you has also become strangely inert.
So what happens to the plants?
Oddly enough, the plants seem to be okay. It's the actual powdered ghost rock or ghost rock in stone form that seems to have just been devitalized, denatured, deboomed. So with any plants, any of your specially grown plants, everything are oddly okay. Like whatever happened doesn't affect living infused or, organic infused material. Just ghost rock and dust itself.
We stole part of the train, right?
Yeah.
And there was an engine on both ends, right?
Yeah, you stole one of the end engines.
Okay, so without even a word, it suddenly occurs that there might be. I spin and run to the Ghost Rock car, where they would have, like the coal car, to see if any of that. Climb up over to the side and look in.
All right.
Hello.
Evens or odds?
Odds, because he is.
All right, down in the bottom, because there was only enough fuel to get you a little ways away. It was only meant to be an emergency.
Yep.
There are 2 small pieces of ghost rock, enough to make 1 or 2 bombs,
Okay,
and
so
they appear to have been spared whatever fate befell your current girlfriend, your side piece, and everything else. However else you classified the other pieces of ghost rock that you had on you.
Yeah, just head first in, like they probably see the feet sticking out like out of a snowbank in the winter as I'm diving in, because I can smell it. I can hear her. She's calling to me. Don't worry, I'm coming. I get you. I save you. I'm pretty good at this. Watch this. Here I come. And it just
Mr. Bang, are you unwell?
they'll like stop for a second. I'm gonna be okay in a minute. I mean, I'm really mad, and the boots kind of, but I'm physically okay.
Mad is, yes, the term that I would probably use.
All right,
I get that, but fair enough. And I just go back to digging.
I would like everybody else to give me a notice roll. At least anybody who's close enough to have spoken with Bang or seen what he did.
Wow.
I love this. Absolutely love this.
4.
Just a 6.
Oh, that's 1 success. Lester?
I rolled a 4.
Oh,
do you
4.
do it?
No, you don't have to do it in there. I guess I didn't hear. I'm sorry. That's just enough for you both to notice an odd sort of ticking sound coming from the remains of the treasure cart.
Very quietly move away from the cot.
Yeah, I'm gonna kind of move. I guess I'm gonna start moving kind of along the ravine that we're kind of close to. That has the exploded trestle.
Oh, thank you. Did we explode it?
Oh, you
I did too.
You did.
Yeah,
Oh, there was a nice big pile of ghost rock there. But, oh well, I put it up.
it was. Bang. Give me a notice roll at -1 to see if you hear the ticking, because nobody's warning you about
0.
the ominous ticking. Oh, all right.
Yeah, I rolled 2 ones. So, yeah.
All right. Well then,
Yep.
I'm
still digging.
assuming it was Bang's device.
well, I mean, generally that's a safe assumption.
Mhm.
However, we're going to be a little cinematic about this. Everybody else kind of gets to safety. Bang is pretty much deeply ensconced in what is kind of a tiny ghost rock bunker. Slightly, those things are fairly reinforced because ghost rock.
Yep.
So after a few more ticks that go,
Yeah.
you hear a ding like an oven timer. Seemed gratuitous, but it was part of the package. And the treasure cart goes up. There is a boom, a shock wave. The cart itself, most of the explosion goes through the roof, kind of like a firework factory. But enough of it goes through the open doors that the train engine itself decouples and kicks about 300 feet quite rapidly down the tracks before bucking and falling over.
It wasn't me. The part that I was in, right, goes
Yes,
down.
the part that you're
yeah.
in goes 300-400 feet down the tracks and just kind of derails.
Yeah.
But you do manage to finally liberate those two little pieces of ghost rock, each one about the size of maybe a plum.
Yeah. You're not gonna last. But yeah, I'm in the pile of shit, just looking at my ill-gotten gains. Yeah, I'm done.
Why am I not surprised that Honest John covered his tracks quite well? I don't suppose we'll be fortunate enough to find anything that we can even salvage out of that mess to get us out of here.
I will tell you what. Let's go ahead and everybody roll me 1d6 and tell me what you got. No bonuses, no minuses. It's not an attribute call. Just roll me. I'm calling it a luck die.
4.
Okay. 3, 1.
No luck for you.
Well, all right. I'm going to say that in the midst of everything, you do find what appears to have been just a small safe, partially cracked open, that with a little work has what sounds like some gold coins in it. Maybe gold, maybe silver. It's metal, it rattles. If you hold it to the light just right, you can see there's something in there, but you're going to need a bit of work to get into it. It's embedded in the one tree that you guys were hiding by.
Well, Lady Luck does smile on all fortunes still.
Just a little bit, yep.
Well, then, that'll give us something to occupy our time as we make our way. Not necessarily back to town. I would say we should go in a slightly different direction.
It's probably a good thing that you have somebody who knows the wilderness. Because I'm pretty sure Bang doesn't, and I don't know how much Lester knows about surviving the prairie.
Yeah, I like to think about that point. I come stumbling back up the track, all covered in, it's basically coal dust, because this isn't the crystal stuff, right? This is just regular ghost rock.
Yep.
Got my 2 little pieces in my backpack, ears ringing, looking around. Which way did he go?
Mr. Idolize.
I mean, we all saw him head up the ravine, right?
Yeah, he headed up back to the last you saw him. He was heading up back the tracks as though he was going back to town.
Yeah, I don't think town's going to be too open to us. Any ideas?
Well,
I mean, you want to get somewhere along Canyon, I can help you with that, but
that all depends on where in the territories we are. I don't think we ever did establish that, Marshall. Where in the Arizona territory is this little town?
Little town. It's you're rather in the center of Arizona. It's not perfectly in the center, but it's definitely sort of to the west of the Fort, what is now known as the Fort Apache Reservation.
Well, then from there, we could go to Fort Verde, or we can go south to Tucson or Tombstone.
supplies wise, the town's maybe a little bit better. Information,
It would be
the
a
other direction may be better.
it would be a bit difficult explaining ourselves to the soldiers at Camp Verde what we're doing out here in the middle of nowhere with no horses, no supplies, and a missing train somewhere in the background.
That is fair.
I have no doubts that Honest John is going to make very little time using that printing press of his to make sure that we are the ones they are looking for that missing train.
Well, not to say that they don't have horses already coming down the track. So you said southwards it is?
South to Tombstone is what I would recommend. Give us a little bit of time. I believe the Dixie line, no, the Vermilion line heads there.
That is correct.
Once we get there, I gotta do something I never done before. I gotta go to a library. I gotta find out where that son bitch lives.
You will, those of you who are less addled by ghost rock addiction and concussions untreated for decades will recall that nobody really knows where Honest John lives specifically. Generally, he has been known, however, after a big haul to pass through Tombstone. He favors it for some reason. He'll stop through, blow a bunch of money, make a lot of friends, usually enough of both to make sure that whoever's coming looking for him isn't going to have a whole lot of success, and then move on again.
If I do recall, there is a mudraker in Tombstone who might have a bit of an ear to the ground on Mr. Rackham as well. Runs the, what is that piece of rag called? The Tombstone Epitaph, I believe.
That is one of the better known news. I guess I call it paper, but it's barely paper what they have to use.
I gotta send a telegram too when we get there. I know I know a guy that's not gonna be too happy when I tell him about a Harold. Start like thumbing the coal dust out of my eyes, finally taking an interest in the world.
Sure.
All right. I think you all are doing what you can to make it somewhere a little more hospitable.
That would be correct. So,
all right. Edward, going to be on you. Do you have I can't remember, do you have the woodsman skill? or survival?
It's the Wilderness Man Edge,
Oh, Wilderness Man Edge. That will.
which is +2 to survival and tracking.
Okay, so we're gonna need 2 different rolls here from you. I'm not gonna give you any bonuses or any negatives because Lester, I imagine, knows at least enough about camping, life on the road, to help out a bit. But Bang, on the other hand, I think doesn't even know how to tie his own shoes some days. Probably tried to blow them up at least once. So just give me a straight survival roll to try and get you at least far enough away safely to find a good place to hole up, and then give me a tracking roll to try to cover your if you want to, at a -1 to try and cover your tracks and not make it obvious where several people departed.
I guess the only thing to let you know is this version like combines survival and tracking into the same die.
Oh crap, yes it does. Okay, well then just give me one roll, one straight roll. This is for all the beans.
It is an 8 for all the beans.
Oh, outstanding. That will do it.
2 successes. Yeah.
2 successes. Yep, you are good. You not only managed to kind of shepherd and keep Bang on track, but you managed to keep him from vanishing into any sudden sinkholes, ditches, anything like that, and cover the meandering tracks well enough that unless they have a really good and really motivated tracker, they're not likely to veer off to find you. They're more likely to follow the trail of multiple horses that went on down the track. All right, so I'm not going to make you roll repeatedly. Just give me one more good roll. We're going to call this for just the travel to the nearest station, little town, to try and get you further on your way.
And just another survival.
Yep, straight survival. No bonuses, no negatives.
It is a 5.
All right, the second day is a little harder. I think, Bang's jonesing a little bit. Those 2 little pieces of rock aren't enough.
Yep.
We're talking about somebody who's used to doing an 8-ball every day, getting, a pinky bump, having to make it last. And I'm sure Lester is already itching for a bath and some of the finer things in life that he's more used to these days. But you make it. It's a couple days of travel. Rations are a little lean. You're a little dehydrated. You're definitely all dusty. Although, Edward, you're kind of used to that. But you make it to a satellite railway station that can get you connected to the railway going towards Tombstone. It's a little place. Doesn't seem like they've heard the big hullabaloo, but you have no doubts very soon everybody there is going to know about what Honest John and his compatriots, or possibly, as Lester pointed out, just those dirty scoundrels who dared to face, the new Silver Baron, that new up-to-date, awesome train car that was supposed to be the pride of the new railway. Kind of depends on how everything spins out. Otherwise, the place is.
I'm gonna go searching for Ghost Rock somewhere. I just like there's got to be pieces on the tracks or something. I've got money, but I'm assuming there's no stores. So.
There's a small general store.
Oh, okay.
There's a small general store. Once again, it's more of an outlier, but there are prospectors who come through here, some hunters, things like that, just enough to keep a small general store going, but not prosperous.
Okay. So yeah, walk right up to the desk, whether anybody's there or not, like any other customers are there or not. Pull out my little fold of money. It's 2 20s and 2 1s. I put the 2 1s back in my pocket, slam the 40 on the counter, and say, "I need Ghost Rock."
You see from behind the counter, there's an older gentleman, a little pot-bellied. He's got a stained apron over a stained shirt, rolled up to his elbows, balding, florid face. Looks like he probably spends most of his nights fairly insensate on whatever sort of, you could call it moonshine, but I'm pretty sure it's even more lethal than that. But hey, it gets you drunk, and sometimes that's all you need. Just wait. What? Wait.
I just need Ghost Rock.
You need Ghost Rock. Okay. He looks at the $40. He's like, I don't have a lot. Hold on. And he shuffles back into the back, still kind of bleary-eyed and walking a little funny because he was not sitting on a very comfortable chair, and it's pretty clear at least one of his legs and possibly an ass cheek have all fallen asleep. He's trying not to show it.
Yeah.
And he stumps around back. That he comes back very shortly, and he's got a jar about yay tall, like a little jam jar with a top on, and it's mostly full of. It's just got little flakes and pebbles of ghost rock. It's kind of like ghostly Parmesan that you got in there, grated Parmesan. It's not very big. He's like, this is all I have. Pretty much everything else goes to the railway, and they're not going to sell you any.
That's what I figured. How much for that?
He looks down at the two bills, looks at you, looks at the two bills, looks at you, just takes one of them.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm not going to use it for anything. I don't know what you want, but what else you want? But there you go. Do you need anything else?
Oh, what would you suggest to protect myself from somebody that's harrowed?
Protect you from somebody that's... Look, man, this is a shitty little general store out in the middle of nowhere. Nothing I got is going to help you any more than what you probably have. Do you have a gun? Do you have a knife? Do you have some sort of blunt object?
I got all kinds of stuff, but none of it works.
That does sound like a problem. All right, look. he looks at the 20, looks at the other 20 on there, takes the other 20, goes back behind the counter, comes back with it's not a great looking pistol.
Yeah.
But it's just a 6-shooter, fairly low. Looks like somebody may have actually used it as a paperweight in a humid climate for a while. You're not sure. But he puts down a 10, a 5, and the rusty but still probably functional pistol. He's like, that's the best thing I got for harrowed, other than pinning them down and covering them in kerosene and lighting them. I don't.
Okay. I pop it open. It's got like just the 6 rounds that come with it.
Yep,
that's all. Yeah.
Yep.
So I dumped them out in my hand, and conversation's over, right? Like, I'm done. So I just turn and walk towards the door, just slowly rubbing each bullet into the little can of ghost powder, ghost rock, and then putting them back in as I walk back out in the street.
You can't hear it, but you can actually kind of feel him just pinching the bridge of his nose and somewhat breathing a sigh of relief as you leave. Because that's about as much excitement as he wants to deal with today.
Very quietly under my breath, don't judge me. Out the door.
So while Bang is...
how many more charges did I get for that?
I would call that, if you use them judiciously, 3 more charges.
Okay.
Edward and Lester, while Bang is, getting his fix and going to chop a line or whatever he does with the ghost rock, what are you two doing?
Lester, by this time, has gotten rid of the vest and dropped his hat somewhere else and has picked up new clothes.
New clothes. All right. Edward, you seem like you fairly blend in, at least clothes and dirt-wise.
Well, I'm more annoyed that a certain what is it? Honest man took my clothes with the horses. Not thrilled on that one.
Oh yeah, you're still wearing
all the
nice
good
clothes.
stuff.
I forgot. Yeah, I know you're actually.
My clothes are with the horse that John took and ran off with. So I'm in the general store looking for clothes, like jeans that probably a little loose, but they'll snug up or they'll get themselves cut to shape.
Yep, he's got plenty of pretty basic clothes. None of it's very pretty. Some of it looks like patched and being resold. But if you're looking to just get some more rugged wear and get out of the nicer stuff and more conspicuous stuff you've been wearing, tattered though it kind of is after a couple of days travel through the plains.
If he really wants it, I'm more than willing to just trade him the stuff I have because I'm sure the fabric's worth more than the stuff I'm buying.
He'll definitely take that deal. There's not really a changing room though. But he's like, look, I'll turn the close sign for you and I'll go back for a few. if you want to just get changed here, leave those
Works
clothes.
for me.
All right. So he does
Also,
that.
thanks for the help with those flowers 2 years ago.
Oh, it's you. I didn't recognize you wearing, a suit.
It's been a few days. This is what happens when I hang out with my sister for too long.
Ah, yeah, you've told me about her. Has she started using labels on anything yet?
Nah, still no. Good time.
Good time.
She hasn't poisoned a customer yet, to my knowledge.
To your knowledge. Well, all right.
I know plants. I know what they're supposed to do, but my sister doesn't know how to tell somebody how much supposed to do what.
So you have mentioned, and that's why none of it's
Hey,
on
she's
my
got a good snake
shelves.
tongue.
All right, Lester, were you going to try and buy anything, or you've made your swap, done some tradesies with somebody who was heading out?
Yep.
All right.
We've changed our look up a bit. I don't know who this Lester is you're talking about. My name's Moses. Moses Delshay.
Moses. Well, good to meet you, Moses. A little asking around will show you that there's kind of a cheap taverning inn as well. It's always open, never super busy if you want to try and get some food, water, and a bath, or if you just kind of want to get out of the heat and direct sunlight, because it is Arizona. The train schedule, if you go looking, does tell you that there's another train due in about 3 hours. It's not going to be anything fancy. It's going to be probably in maybe a somewhat covered top open car, being pulled along with a lot of freight that's just stopping through. But that's your real chance, unless you want to try and see if anybody out here wants to part with a horse or 3.
You get to Tombstone is how much?
To get to Tombstone would be $6 each.
I think that can be done.
And this is not a catered drive, so anything you have to bring, any food you want, any drink you want, and if you're gonna do your business off the edges of the train, please try not to hit the other passengers and expect to be punched if you don't.
Is there a boarding house nearby where we could pay for a packed lunch?
There is actually, yes. Well, it's pretty much attached to the bar. It's the closest thing they have to an inn. You're pointed down the way to a place that looks like it looks like somebody found a lot of driftwood and has just done their best to put it together with warped planks from somewhere. If this thing has ever been painted, that paint is not even a memory so much as somebody thought one time there might have been some paint somewhere, but they can't really confirm or deny. There's a sign, can't read it. It's pretty much faded so heavily with the sun, so everybody just calls it, blanks.
That'll do.
All right.
Go on in.
There are a couple minor looking types in there, rough types, rough clothes, coal dust and dirt and such embedded in their hands, covering their faces. They're drinking something out of glasses, could be beer, could be more unsavory things. None of them seem to care so long as it kind of gets them drunk. But there are also plenty of tables open and a very almost skeletally thin older woman behind the bar, not so much cleaning a glass with a rag as moving the dirt around into new and interesting patterns. What can I do for you?
We're catching the train in about 3 hours, looking to purchase a packed lunch to go if we could.
We can definitely do that. The packed lunches are nothing fancy, but I can promise you none of it's like, dog or rat meat in there. It's all jerky, cheese, and hardtack.
Well, that'll do it. That'll sustain us on the road. That's all we need.
All right. She reaches under the counter, pulls up. Each one's in a little kind of greasy looking cardboard box tied with twine. And she's like, $1 each.
I'll pull out $3 silver, leave them on the counter for her.
Oh, thank you. She swipes them off, looks at them. Oh. Oh, yeah, that's real. Okay, thanks. Have a seat. If you want a drink, let me know. Oh,
Gentlemen,
Yeah, I'm gonna sit down next to Moses.
Moses, he looks a lot like a guy I used to know named Lester.
don't know who this Lester is you keep referring to, but yes, my name's Moses.
Okay. My memory's shit. And right there at the bar, take a little piece of gold, one of these little flakes of ghost rock, and light it on fire, put it on the table, and then put my drink on top of it so that it warms the drink, which is what Bang thinks he likes. What it actually is the smoke coming up from underneath it, but he's breathing and dealing with his addiction.
there's a tiny little scream when the ghost rock is lit.
Yeah.
That is mighty nerving.
Especially when it's mirrored by Bang and the baritone going,
It's almost musical, but not music from any band you'd actually want to see.
No. Funny for about 3 seconds. That kind of music, yeah.
Forget Georgia, the devil's in Bang's drink.
And as it finishes burning out, then yeah, warm whiskey.
Yeah, the miners don't even look up at the slight screaming. This is none of their business. Right now, you're just in a hot, stuffy, but not quite as hot and unpleasant as it is outside. Little room, battered, rickety chairs. All of them look like you would need to put something under each leg, all 4 legs, to actually make it even. Don't ask how. It's that kind of place.
The floor is crooked. Yeah.
Mr. Idlewife, I'm going to ask, do you have many of these acquaintances that we've just met up and down these tracks?
Yeah, there's very few, if I'm gonna be honest. I mean, there's the ones that hear me say, "Hey, I think there might be a corpse flower, somewhere in the area," and they ask me what's the area, and say probably 50 or 100 miles, and they look at me and go, "I don't even know what kind of flower you're talking about," and they then pretend they never knew me. And this person probably was trying to pretend he never knew me until I said, "Hey, I know you from a few years ago."
Well,
so I'm not enemies per se, but
reward
people who
money,
think I'm crazy.
Reward money can jog a person's memory quite well. I might suggest we avoid any of your further acquaintances till we get to Tombstone.
Well, there's one person Tombstone is particularly interested. I think he was the person with the newspaper.
That's why I say wait till we get to Tombstone.
All good.
One of the beautiful advantages of all this vast open territory is in the time it takes to get from one town to the next, people disappear or never were, unless they get their face unfortunately plastered on a wanted poster that goes over the territory. Then you got marshals, and you got rangers, you got bounty hunters, all looking for you. Now, we were just in the employ of a very nefarious individual who has the means and the desire to ensure we don't reveal what he has just done. There's a reason why nobody has ever reported being double-crossed by Honest John. It's very hard to make a dead man tell tales. And the evidence that Honest John wants us dead is what's left of that train back on that track back there.
And how does this Honest John, well, other than the fact that we met somebody on a random railroad stop who's going to say that he saw a ghost, know that we weren't killed in such an explosion?
That's the idea.
Oh, crap. Does that mean I'm dead again?
Well, you, my good friend, are very much alive. But that poor soul by the name of Bang, fortunately, what's left of him is scattered across the plains.
Oh, that's too bad. I heard he was a nice guy. A little weird. At least that's what people told me.
You catch my drift?
Oh, Moses. Oh. And you can see him just sitting there trying to think of a name, and just like he's blasted right now. He's just off on a dopamine ride from the gods at the moment, but he's trying to be helpful. But yeah, he just can't think of a name.
You're good. Just don't have one till, time arises.
I should probably have a shower or put me in a river or something. Like I just realized I'm covered in filth. Now that my brain is working again, right? Because I got my buzz going. So yeah, now all of a sudden Bang is clear headed for a brief moment.
My dear friend, I'm afraid that of what that would do to the fish in the river.
Oh, it'll kill him. You should have seen him last time.
We have time, we have coin, and there's a bathhouse down the street.
But they're gonna remember the filth, aren't they?
What filth?
And I looked at it. It's covered in cold, in powder, right, from climbing into the thing and been exploded. And I haven't had a shower, nothing since then. We've been walking all day, and yeah, I just streaky, black, sweaty, ashy mess.
My point is, my friend, is if you use that bathhouse, there won't be filth. And the individuals, have you seen the miners around here? You're just another miner coming in from work.
That's true. My name could be Miner. Miner. Yeah. Okay, where's the bathhouse?
I seem to recall it being up the street a short ways there.
And, like man on a plan, but with a bit of a wobble, he's heading up the street.
Yep. Kind of surprised that his feet actually touched the floor.
Yes. Well, that's where the wobble is happening, because sometimes they're not quite. Yeah. It's been a while since he'd had a good solid. It's been before the heist since he's had a good hit. So yeah.
All right. So Bang goes off to get a bath in relatively clean water.
Yeah, I'm gonna go see what we can do. Talking about finding some canteens for water. Don't know where we're gonna be after Tombstone.
All right.
Not a bad idea.
You'll be able to find some pretty easily and for pretty cheap. Once again, maybe for decent ones that aren't just badly cured animal skins that are going to just leave the worst taste in your mouth when you drink that water. But like actual good, metal canteens, it'll probably be about $2 for 3. And while he's doing that, Moses, are you doing anything else or just kind of enjoying being alone for a minute?
Enjoying the peace for just a moment and keeping an ear out, seeing if there's any chatter that needs to be brought to our attention. We got here in a few days, but
it's mostly grumbling from the miners. Like there is an actual coal mine, a small one nearby. That's what they're doing. Most of them are complaining that it's getting harder to find the coal already. This mine's been here for quite some time. They're hoping to strike some ghost rock, and some of them are thinking about just moving on, as it's obvious this little depot is not going to turn into the next ghost rock boomtown or silver town. There's not going to be any sort of boom for this town except maybe Bang accidentally dropping dropping his supply of ghost rock into his bath.
That's one way to make a bubble bath, I suppose.
Actually, I was just thinking if you took a little tiny flake of it and lit it on fire and dropped it in the tub. Have you ever seen, I think is it calcium
Yeah,
that hits water and just
or no, it's sodium.
Sodium, one of the two. Yeah, I think it's sodium. Yeah, yeah, just all over the surface. Yeah,
Yeah.
Frozen propane might do the same thing.
Either way, there's really nothing of note. This isn't a place that gets a lot of news. This isn't a place where a lot happens. People mind their own business and try and pretty much ignore anything that doesn't directly relate to them. So a while later, before the train arrives, but not super long before the train arrives, because I imagine he keeps getting distracted. Clean in skin, but definitely not clean in clothes. Bang, unless he actually hand washes clothes.
I was just gonna say I come out and everything's clean, but the clothes are soaking wet. Like I just took them in the tub with me because I'm cleaning. Right, we gotta. So you come out absolutely. Well, I mean, as clean as you can get it. But yeah, absolutely soaking wet, and I'm walking down the street like there's nothing wrong. Strutting a little bit even. Yep.
Dry before you get back to the head.
Yeah.
In the Arizona heat, yeah, I'd just be steaming as I walk down the street.
If Bang had any hair,
yeah.
But he says not so.
Oh, my pubes are really itchy. But that might be a disease. Anyway, yeah.
I'd have a doctor look at that. What about you, my botanical friend? How shall we address you for the rest of this journey?
I mean, outdoorsman, minor, unless you think, something else. People come, people go.
That they do. I mean,
Edward Friedelweiss.
Common enough a name. As long as we don't address you by your surname, we should be all right.
All right. Well, the little remaining time passes, and you hear distantly but getting closer the chug 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 of a train. Not quite as smooth as that. It definitely sounds like an older model engine, something that's kind of struggling with the load that it's got. Still, the kind that's still serviceable, not quite ready to be put out to pasture, but not really necessarily worth refurbishing, especially for the line that it takes care of.
I believe that's the sound of our chariot.
I thought we were taking a train.
She's well trained.
I don't understand. I'm just going to follow you two.
We are taking a train later.
It's the little engine that could but doesn't want to anymore. They just won't let it die.
The little engine that might.
So the last week of college, gotcha.
Yep, exactly. Train that's got senioritis.
Short-termers.
I'm not.
But not senioritis like high school senioritis. Senioritis like 70-year-olds old and
yelling at
still
clouds.
having to go to work. Yep.
As it rolls in, I mean, Bang's. I'm trying to be cool about it, but as that cart rolls by with all that ghost rock in it behind the engine, it's just.
Oh no, this isn't a ghost rock one.
Oh, it's just regular steam. Okay.
Yep.
Oh, and then it goes past, and I smell it, and it's fuck it.
Yeah, this isn't a line that gets the fancy schmancy. This is one that just moves non-perishable freight and some miners. It pulls up to you could call it a station, but it's pretty much a rickety wooden platform with just a little one window room with a door, a little bench. The guy from the general store waddles out, turns the close sign, pulls the door closed and locks it, waddles up to the station, opens the door to the one little teller's booth, such as it is, closes it behind him, puts on a really faded billed hat, and just sort of slumps there. When the train stops, about a dozen miner types, once again, just all ethnicities, mostly men, 2 women, all of them looking fairly dirty because, the rider car is not that far behind the engine. And once again, is not enclosed. It's pretty much it's almost like a covered wagon. It's got some ribs and a bit of material over the top. So nobody's probably going to die of exposure and heat stroke, but it's not going to be a fun ride.
I recommend my friends sitting as close to the engine as you can get. It'll reduce
appreciated
quite a bit.
And you'll get first choice at seats. The train's going to be there a little bit. Once again, it's teller takes your money, doesn't even hand you a ticket or anything. He's just like, go sit. This is pretty obviously there's not going to be any sort of concierge or anything wandering down the aisle asking for tickets.
No conductor on this one, I'm assuming.
Oh, I mean, there's a conductor. He doesn't give a shit about anything except making sure that the train gets down to the next station. He is not there for your comfort. He is not finely dressed. There's no silver or anything on his person. You can see him. He's in overalls. He's got the conductor's hat. At least it's pretty sure it's a conductor's hat. It's blackened with soot. At least you hope it's mostly soot. But either way, it's blackened, kind of crusty looking. And he's just tapping his foot. Arms crossed, just kind of waiting.
Find a spot to sit where I can watch the rest of the cart and everybody coming on.
Yep. There's 2 other people on the cart. They look not necessarily like miners, possibly more like carpet. They look like carpetbaggers because there's no luggage check. So both of them have big pseudo suitcases, the carpet bags, effectively, with some belongings. Looks like an older couple, just heads down, kind of huddled together, passing a bottle back and forth while they wait. Nobody else gets on the train. The other miners that were at the inn did not come with you. And pretty soon the gentleman from the general store opens the door, looks out and says, "Fuck off. You're full." Which gets him a finger in the air from the conductor before the whistle goes and steam starts getting up. Chug. And it's a pretty noticeable, uncomfortable sort of jerking motion until it starts to get up the steam, and then finally it smooths out mostly, and you are off. It is a little cooler, as Lester may have mentioned, a little more tolerable, closer to the engine. Not a lot. The air that moves past you is hot, and you're actually pretty certain if you hadn't thought ahead to get those canteens, you would all be mummified by the time you arrived. There is absolutely nothing to see on this trip except if you've ever been through the lower parts of Arizona, it's just miles and miles of
Miles and miles.
miles and miles. Yep, it's pretty much that. Although some often less scenic than even that. There's some cacti. If you're lucky, you might see a rabbit for a moment, to really break up the monotony. But otherwise, the train goes and goes and goes and goes.
If we've got time, I want to make another one of my 100 match balls. Ball made of 100 matches.
Yeah. You can.
Because that's what I'm looking. I haven't got the stuff to remake any of my other gear, but but yeah, I can do that.
All right.
Yeah.
So, Bang does that. Is anybody doing anything special? I imagine not, but I want to check.
The only thing I'm kind of thinking of is if I've in my travels seen anything like the inert ghost rock.
No, you don't even need to make a roll for that. That is ghost rock. Either burns, like ghost rock either works or it doesn't work. There's no like calcified, powerless like ghost rock fossil that any of you have ever heard of.
So it may not go
Broke
boom,
it.
but it sure does something. And that's what I'm going to try to figure out without blowing up the train, preferably.
Okay. Well, then let's go ahead and what are we going to have you roll for
Man,
that?
that's
Ambush.
science.
Ambush.
Um, just give me a straight smarts roll, unless you have a skill that you feel would be better for tinkering
Man.
with.
I have weird science.
Oh, okay, yeah. Go ahead, give me a weird science roll. +1.
I mean,
I'm going to give you a
+1, okay.
+1. Yeah, since you've got plenty of time, you can take it easy. It's not a +2 though, because you're doing it on a train.
That is a 7.
Okay, outstanding. After a little bit of experimentation, you find, and you manage not to lose any fingers when you find this out, but adding the inert ghost rock to water actually causes it to, what's the word I'm looking for here? It turns into a very vicious cloud of corrosive gas.
Corrosive steam. That's
Pretty
not
much.
terrifying at all.
Yeah, no explosion, but it just goes. And whatever you were like experimenting with that in, I'm assuming not your canteen, but you know, a little
It
tin
was
cup
probably
or
like
whatever.
a tiny pile on the floor.
Oh,
It's
a
a
tiny
drop of water, and there's a hole in the floor.
Yeah, there's a hole in the floor, and it like eats a little bit of your jeans as it's pushed along, corrodes part of the seat. Like you can see this cloud going down, and it dissipates before it gets to the nice older couple. But it's a near thing. It does some unhappy stuff to everything it touches before it gets there.
Oh, I have MacGyver. I have 2 canteens, and I have Ghost Rock.
Yes.
So I would like to find some little sort of stick links of Ghost Rock, something that I could light one end so it burned like a match, and just put those, set those to the side,
Okay.
and take one of my 2 canteens and just poke a very small hole in the top, about the same diameter.
Okay.
Just want to make a rough and ready sort of light it on fire, throw it in there, throw it out the window, and it goes boom because it's water and Ghost Rock. Right?
Okay. You get that. Give me a weird. No, actually, since you're not actually trying to put the Ghost Rock in it, you're just making it ready for Ghost Rock. I'll let you just. That's an easy thing. But give me a notice roll at -1 to see if you see what Alexander was doing.
5.
5. Okay, that's enough. You actually, yeah, while you're doing it, since you've made so many bombs in your
Yeah.
life of different kinds, you look over and you see him take some of that weird calcified sort of ghost rock that he had, put it on the floor, put a little drop of water on it, and you see it just go through the floor. You see the vapor come off it. You see it melt the seats a little bit and part of his jeans, which I mean just adds to the minor look. It's not so bad. And almost eat the nice older couple at the other end of the train, or at the other end of the car.
Just staring at it as the smoke fades away. Hello, beautiful. And I've got 2 pounds of that shit in my backpack.
Yes, you do.
So do I.
Thankfully, you did not try to wash the backpack.
No, I did not. Or we'd have known about that.
There'd be a hole very deep. And a very angry bathhouse owner hunting down Moses and Alexander. Like, do you know this? Is this yours?
What are you doing? Taking your drummer for a walk?
You speak.
So this is open time for discussion. If you don't really feel like you have a lot to talk about, we can just move on to getting you near to Tombstone.
So what's our plan when we get here?
That's the difficult part.
What? I look up from my backpack because I'm looking down at 2 pounds of this in my canteen, trying to do the math.
We can't exactly turn him in for it because he made very careful plans to ensure that he was nowhere near what was happening. Very, very difficult to.
out of character question. What is this general area's stance on the Herod?
Out here, at this time in Arizona, it's, they're watched with a bit of suspicion, depending on the town. Some of the more Bible thumping towns and some of the more superstitious towns are not fond of them if they know that they're there. But life is hard enough in Arizona in this time that sometimes that guy who's not actually going to die of dehydration and doesn't really need to eat all that much could be your best friend and the one who helps things pull through. So as long as that hero doesn't flip out and go on a killing spree or something, they're just treated like another person who smells a little funky.
Right. Okay. That's one plan. While you were explaining that, I had another plan, so I'm good. Well, if we're gonna have trouble finding him, why don't we make him find us?
Because we're dead.
Yeah, but we don't have to stay dead.
Well,
We could ruin his reputation, and if once he
There's two ways
finds
of
out
doing
we're
that.
alive, he's got to come kill us, right?
Yes, correct, Minor. But I would suggest we wait till we get to Tombstone and sniff about a bit to find out what the odor is before we try to perfume it.
Oh, for sure. If he spends all his time, some of his time there, then he'll feel comfortable coming there to get us because he knows everybody.
It just depends on what side of the marshals he's on when we get there.
And how much time we got before he gets there to
That's-
help convince people that that first part of his name is bullshit.
That's why we need to figure out when we get there. Are we getting there before him or after him? And if so on both, how much time? If we arrive in town just even a day or so after him, we'll have time to besmirch his name. If we get there before him, we'll have plenty of time to start besmirching his name because he won't be in the town he controls. Now, if he's going by horseback, we have the advantage that this train's going to help us catch up and possibly pass him.
Oh, this is the good shit. I just had another thought. What if, because it's true, they might not have bad thoughts about the Herald around here, but one thing I know they hate is a horse thief.
And a cheat.
And he stole horses and he cheated.
Gonna have a difficult time with the horse thief. The horses were technically his.
Yeah, well, we stole them from him before he stole them back from. Okay, I see where you're going. He's still a cheat.
Fair enough.
Besides, we can lie. We don't have to tell the truth. We're just trying to piss him off.
Mm-hmm. Now
I guess the other issue is that with the amount of money he seems to at least claim to have, him being a horse thief would be a little unusual.
Wow, you guys think like really fast and shit. Yeah, so forget the horse thief part. Your idea was really good. And he points at Moses. Because he almost said your name. Yeah.
Moses.
Yeah. Question mark.
Marshall, does this train stop anywhere between its origin and Tombstone?
Yes, there's one stop. It's not even like this pseudo town like the one you got off in. There's a just a coal tender and water tower about halfway along the way. It's unmanned, but it will stop to load up and such for a little bit.
I need something with a telegraph office.
That's not going to be until Tombstone.
That's all right.
Yeah, guaranteed Tombstone will have the telegraph office.
Yeah, But what I need is for a message to get to Tombstone before we do. All right. Wish I had thought of this before we got on the train, but that's all right. When we get to Tombstone, we are in search of a family heirloom that was stolen off of a train where we just left. A pair of antique pistols in a display case.
Gotcha.
Good memory.
No names. Of course, I got a good memory. I had my eye on those.
Yes.
But no names, no accusations. Simply an insurance reward for the return to the family that they belong to. Now, with any luck, Honest John's going to try and pawn those pistols off. That's how we find him. He finds us, and we get the law a little bit curious about how he got them.
And then when nobody's looking, we drag him in the alley and kick his ass and take all his shit, right?
I wouldn't do that in Tombstone.
This is complicated.
I know it is minor, but here's the problem with Tombstone. Tombstone is a bit of a haven, not only for outlaws and ne'er-do-wells, but for a few ragtag marshals and lawmen looking to make names for themselves. What I understand of Tombstone is the peace is maintained by a mutual understanding that the one who draws first is causing the fight.
So if we really piss him
Moses.
off, we can get Tombstone to kill him for us.
Yeah, or
But also,
if we can get him to draw first, then it's not murder, it's self-defense.
don't we have those shadows that I think, didn't somebody say around the bank?
Yeah, my
Or am I
concern.
misremembering that?
Nope, there was somebody following. Never
There was
know
some-
who.
My concern, but you do bring up a point, Alexander, that Mr. Honest John has some ability to manipulate shadows.
Sure.
Something we have to contend with.
We also got to figure out how to get him to stop freezing us.
I was thinking more he might have some enemies.
Again, that'll take some nosing around, asking a few questions. Who knows? Maybe some of his old partners are still alive.
Yeah, similar to us.
But I thought we were dead.
We are
Same
minor.
with them.
Well, Minor is alive. Moses is alive. Alexander is alive. Edward
true.
is staying or not.
It's too bad. I like those guys.
They were decent folk.
I mean, it's like nobody you'd sing songs about, but, you know.
Yeah, one day maybe we'll meet him again. Weirder things have happened.
Yeah, but Minor, have you ever noticed the folks they sing songs about are already dead?
That's true. But the people they sing songs to aren't. Got him.
You've been trying all night.
It's just bang, man. He comes at things from a different angle. I finally found him tonight. I finally found where Bang is. So I'm very happy.
Nice.
He's over there.
Yeah, exactly. He's way over there.
So anyway, should we work on a sketch of these pistols?
Yeah. Let's see if I can remember correctly how this would be described for an insurance claim. Although this isn't going to be the best place to be writing such a thing. But we should at least get it down. If I'm going to do my best, Marshall, to recall how they appeared.
All right. Give me just a smarts roll on that one, unless you have something you think would do better for you.
Not really. I would try to claim arcane, but this isn't that arcane. Oh, 7.
Okay, no, that's good enough. You've got enough to remember the distinctive markings and whatnot. Now, do any of you have any sort of artistic ability or something you feel could substitute for artistic ability to sketch them?
Well, I'm assuming the botanist does.
Well, see, I may not be the most dexterous of. I don't remember. Not the strongest individuals might have a little bit of dexterity going for me.
Oh, just weird science, that shit all over the place. I am going to take my other canteen because I had 2, but you got us one, right? Alexander, you got us each one. Right, so I got one with the hole.
That's correct.
Okay, so I got one with the hole in the top and the little splinter it goes struck. The other one I'm going to dump about half the water, drink half the water, and I'm going to poke a bigger hole in the lid of that one, and I want to make like a paper funnel and grind up some of that defunct ghost rock. Put it in, just so I can, at a moment's notice, just dump it in the funnel and throw the whole thing somewhere, and thus making a toxic stink bomb that hits the walls.
No, you can do that.
Okay. So the closest I might have would be academics, if you want, but that's not great.
All right, I'll give you the academics roll at -1. You're trying to sketch things kind of like you've sort of sketched various plants and such, but this isn't a plant. It's really not.
Yeah, you're also going to see how good he is at academics.
Yeah.
It's a 4.
One
It's
success.
exactly a 4.
All right.
Because the 4 exploded.
Yep. So, all right, we're gonna. It's not perfect, but it definitely doesn't. Definitely looks better than some sort of kid's crayon drawing of guns. It should do, especially if it's a rush job. You should be able to get
First
away
job
with
on
it.
a train.
Yep. Yeah. So despite all that, you managed to get working with Moses. You managed to get a rough approximation of the pistols onto a sheet, along with some verbal descriptions. Something to go on. We've got that down. Bang is working on his version of mustard gas, and
one that goes boom.
I don't even
One
wonder.
that's just a steam explosion,
sometimes.
and the other one that's a toxic gas generator. Yeah. I have
Yeah,
World War One trench
Honest John
warfare.
has to
Oh yeah,
breathe.
the fireball too. I forgot the match ball. I'm ready to go.
I mean, is the steam flammable?
you don't know.
No. Well, no, not the
I'm
other,
just
not the regular stuff. That's just water and.
No, but I think
This
he's talking
this
about
one's
the
just
toxic
water and
vapor.
steam. But that one I don't know. We only did the one experiment and it ate part of the car, so I figured that's probably enough.
And I'm trying to figure out a plant that might live in acidic enough soil to do something with it.
For that one, you can give me a wilderness roll, the survival roll. Sorry, I keep doing that with your bonus.
Survival. What is my survival rating? +0.
Let's go ahead and let's give it +1. This is really your area of expertise for the most part.
Tis a 6.
A 6. All right. Then you know that there is a species of bilberries. It's actually a European invasive species on the East Coast that survives in very acidic soil, as well as a number of flowers like camellias and things that I'm not going to try and pronounce. So there are a number of flowers and at least one berry type that do survive in very acidic soil that you might be able to do something with this new type of ghost rock.
Oh no.
Yeah, that's all I'm doing on the way. Yeah.
Okay. Well, then if that's it, you'll doze, you'll be allowed to get off the train to do any business that you've got to do when they stop at the coal tender. And if you're not back on it when they're done with the coal tender and water tower, then you're hoofing it. This conductor gives zero craps about anything except his timetable, such as it is, or at least, getting done with the train for a while and being able to go do something else. But eventually you get to pretty much, it's the outskirts of Tombstone. The train station that they've got set up isn't directly in or even right on the edge of Tombstone. They've got actually a number of different tracks for different lines that don't connect to this one that are very close, but you guys are kind of on the dollar store track. That's
Yeah.
you are on. Yeah. So, it won't take you too long to hoof it from there. Once you get done, and honestly, Tombstone is still, definitely a boom town, especially because they found some small deposit of ghost rock near Tombstone, and that's caused a lot of interest. It's not flooding with ghost rock miners yet. Mostly it's still the silver and a little bit of gold, but there's the hope that if they found a bit of ghost rock, there's more, and that Tombstone can really explode into something special, or implode. Really kind of depends on the day.
You really shouldn't say the name of cities and explode in the same sentence when I can hear you.
Especially when you
That's some character leak there.
I mean, at least it's a mining town miner.
I find the statement humorous because that's why they've closed the silver mine, as it flooded.
Yep.
Mhm.
If it happens like that with the ghost rock, that's going to be a whole different problem.
It's going to become a whole different type of boom town.
Yeah.
Yep. For a while, it's going to sound like that screaming sunfight from Rick and Morty. Just
Oh yeah, even just a regular ghost rock mine would be horrible, but get the wipe Tombstone off the map. All we got to do is get Honest John downstairs for a minute doing his thing, and then pour water down the mine. Who needs nukes? But anyway,
That would be a lot of water.
that's like 5 or 6. That's 5 or 6 episodes from now. Don't worry about it. I'll plan it. I'll figure it out.
But, all right.
I mean,
so
let's
you
know
guys,
the aquifer.
There's a big dam around here somewhere, isn't there? I have to look at a map. Anyway, yeah.
I have a feeling Lester will bang in chains and dump him into a dark hole before he lets that happen, or just flee and just watch from a distance. Exactly. But all right, Tombstone is a lot like the stories, and actually I'd say a little more like the embellished stories, as in the Tombstone movie and such. It's definitely bustling. There are there's stores, there are saloons and gambling halls, and hotels everywhere. There are people selling all sorts of things off the back of carts, including dresses from England and France, bolts of silk and other hard to find cloths, delicacies that could survive the trip, silverware. I mean, if you name it, you can probably find it here. And it might actually be what they say it is. This is very much a let the buyer beware sort of situation. Everybody's there to make money however they can, because there's a lot of money sloshing through this place.
Well then,
I mean,
first things first, gentlemen. Let's go find ourselves room and board. And then
Yeah, that's a good start.
Anything particular you're looking for? I know I know Moses is a man of refined taste compared to his compatriots.
Lester's a man of fine taste. Moses will take whatever's available at the cheapest rate.
Oh, okay. Well, then there are definitely flop houses. These are they're the kind of places that make, the rundown European hostels that you hear the horror stories about seem like a day at the Hilton. They're definitely places where you need to sleep on your belongings and sleep lightly. You're probably not going to wake up with your throat slit, although, of course, that's such a strange saying. You're not going to wake up from that.
You wouldn't, yeah.
But, you may wake up with far less than you went to sleep with, or just cuddling somebody that you did not expect to show up as your big spoon. Slightly above those, there are places that rent rooms that could accommodate all three of you for slightly more than the flop houses.
Let's go that route.
Okay.
Last thing I need to do is for Minor to accidentally detonate somebody in their sleep.
Yep. You just
I'll
need
do
one.
my best not to accidentally detonate anybody.
I mean, considering we have about 4 pounds of corrosive ghost rock, it's probably for the better.
Yep. I was waiting for somebody to actually. Part of me, out of character, just real quick, was waiting for Bang just to be like, this is worthless, and just dump the calcified ghost rock out,
Yeah.
only to find out later that it was actually, it does something. I'm kind of glad and kind of sad that didn't happen.
Oh, it's yeah. There's no way he was throwing it out. He might be able to fix it.
Yep.
It's like somebody spilled water in their crack. Maybe if I dry it out. So, yeah. Oh wait, it does something different now. Hello.
You're my new friend.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
Why
yeah,
are you
we'll
speaking
get
French?
a little rent rooms.
Okay. Yep.
Instead of a flop house. And I need to go to Western Union and pick up a package that was shipped here.
Okay. You get to Western Union, and we'll just do a quick what each person is doing for this first little bit of the stay. You get to the Western Union. It's fairly bustling. And of course, is always the way in a place like this that's bustling. At least 2 of the lines are held up by people who are yelling about things that are beyond the control of the people behind the counters, and may actually be made up and all part of an attempted scam. You can't really tell, but every person behind each of those counters has the polite, empty smile of someone who would happily throat punch everyone in the room if they didn't need this job. The lines move fairly quickly, other than those 2. And pretty soon you're there. And a relatively nicely dressed young man, slick back hair, very neat, prim. Welcome, sir. How can I help you today?
Yes. I'm here to pick up a parcel that was shipped from up north under the name of Moses.
Moses. Okay. Digs under, looks at a little manifest. Last name?
Delche.
Moses Delche. Okay. Yep. It'll be just a moment. Thank you. And scuttles back. Roots around for a little while. One of the 2 arguments winds down. Pretty much when another patron gets tired of it, slaps the guy upside the back of the head and just drags him out the door and just throws him out into the street, to the applause of most of the other people in the room. The other argument seems to wind down also very quickly after that, and things get back to a sort of hectic peace. And soon enough, the gentleman comes back, with a package of whatever size it was that was shipped to Moses, and puts it on the counter and says, "Okay, sir, there you go."
I'll sign for it. I'll leave a piece on the counter as I leave and take my package. If the marshal will remember, before we left on our little heist, I sent a package to Tombstone.
You did. You did. I just don't remember much about it other than you sent a package. I wasn't sure we were going to need to know.
It was all of my equipment.
Oh, yes.
Right.
I boarded the train with nothing but my pistol and the clothes I was wearing.
Yep. So everything is in there. Everything that you lost, except the whatever parts of clothes you traded for your current getup, you have everything back. And other than that, Miner. What would Miner be doing while Moses is out reclaiming most of his belongings?
I don't know about Miner, but Bang had a habit. A hobby is probably a better word, because we all know he has a habit. But he had a hobby. And he's decided that Miner also has it. So this is a party town. It's a bunch of drunks, a bunch of rowdies. I'm going to go out and just sort of hang out in the shadows a little bit and watch. I want to find an asshole. Just like a bully, a guy that just picks on other people. And I want to follow him until he goes to an outhouse. Because you have to, right? Eventually.
Right. Yeah. That's not hard to find in Tombstone. There's at least one in pretty much every saloon, it seems like, and every casino.
Wait till he's in the outhouse.
Okay.
I go around the back and I find a knothole. And I take a little ball of my powdered calcified ghost rock, throw it in the hole. Then I run around the front and hold the door shut.
Jesus.
If it starts coming out underneath the door, things have gone badly and I'm just going to run away. Like, I'm not going to try to solve the problem, just run away.
All right. So
it's like a teaspoon is all I put in there.
Just a little bit. But
it's an experiment and he's an asshole. So
it is an experiment. And he was an asshole and he had an asshole at one time.
Melting colon. Yeah.
What you hear is, just kind of a strange, like, what the hell is that rattling behind me?
Yeah.
Then some straining, because obviously this guy wasn't drinking enough water.
Yes.
And then fairly shortly after that, the kind of high-pitched, pained, agonizing scream.
It sounds like my ex-girlfriend. Ghost rock. That wasn't an abusive statement. It's ghost rock.
Okay, I'm glad you clarified.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is the kind of thing you would have expected to hear during the height of the Inquisition, not from an outhouse, not terribly far from a bunch of saloons and such.
Yeah.
There is screaming, there is scrabbling, there is sobbing, there is choking, there's banging on the door. Give me a strength check.
Okay. Yeah, I'm feeble as hell. He's probably going to get out here. D4. Do I get a wild die on this?
You do still get a wild die.
Always. That's a 2. That's as good as I got.
Yeah,
so
no, you don't manage to hold it closed.
Okay.
But what does manage to batter its way out the door really looks like somebody left a pork loin in steam for too long.
Yep.
It's I mean, if you put some clothes on it, much of which is melted, just kind of flops out, twitches a little bit, but it's very obvious that he also inhaled some of the vapor.
Yep.
And so, like I said, screaming, shrieking, banging, and a sort of squelching, glistening, what used to be a person.
Yep.
Just kind of laying there.
I walk away going like this. I'd give that a minute. I really would. Just like maybe use another one and just walk away.
There's also, Ben might not have seen that there's not a lot of the seat left. There's pretty much just a hole straight down to the leavings. and the melted remains of this dude. Although, like his pants and everything, since they were down around his ankles,
Oh yeah.
Are strangely okay.
Oh, he melted with his pants down. That's like worse than the toilet. That's an Elvis with melting. Oh, that's awful.
Yep.
Thank you for the opportunity to put that in your game. A little too late for that content warning, says Chad. Yeah, probably.
I've got to remember that.
Oops. Okay, I'll put
I
it
watch
on the
a lot
YouTube.
of horror movies.
Yeah.
All right. And Alexander, Moses went to reclaim his belongings. Miner went to melt somebody from the genitals up.
Mhm.
What are you doing?
This is a Ghost Rock Boomtown.
Yep. I mean, the Ghost Rock, it's a small, like they've found a small seam of it so far. They don't know if there's going to be a huge mine, but even a small seam is big money, along with, once again, the silver mines that really had the original Our World Tombstone booming.
So I am that very like I'm almost near where the miners are, but I'm like where the plant life is just kind of starting to show up again, like at the like edges of like any foliage.
Okay.
Just kind of seeing if anything interesting is kind of showing up that I haven't seen or stuff that I have that I might have use for.
All right, give me a survival roll. Unless you have something you think would be better for tracking down very strange plants.
Yeah, it's probably just survival. Just kind of looking through.
Okay.
There's a 3. This is just like crabgrass. It's just like, no, you're just not deep enough to hit the ghost rock. You're fine.
Yeah, you'll have to get closer to the mine to hopefully find something that's been more affected. But yeah, it's crabgrass, a 2-leaf clover. Surprisingly, it's not native. You're not sure how it got here, but it's definitely only half as lucky.
If I have time, kind of going to look at like, think if like the people you said like have like the European clothing kind of here. Yep. I think somebody might have that berry you talked about earlier. That was like a invasive species from Europe.
Bilberry.
I think it was like dillberry.
Bilberry.
Thank you.
All right. Evens or
next
odds?
door a hobbit with that name.
I will go odds. This is a little bit strange.
All right. Well, it takes some asking around, but there is it's not exactly a general store. It's more of a, maybe find a small taste of home sort of place. It's got, some Chinese like ground spices and a few items from the Far East. It has some German, some Germanic items, French. It's got a little bit of everything that's not from here, including some dried bilberries that have not been deseeded, because that's not really a thing they do.
My thought was basically see how much dried bilberry is willing to give me for $5.
Let's see here. We'll go ahead and say for $5, given the distance they had to transport it and everything, you can actually get 1.5 pounds.
1.5 pounds dried? That's a good amount.
Well, it's really actually they are considered edible, but there are some, they don't know a lot about obviously things like diabetes right now, but it can cause some health problem or exacerbate some issues with people who have specific health problems. So it's not something that everybody's going to pop and eat, but bit of a taste.
Don't worry, nobody's going to want them when I'm done with them. But that's not the shot use problem.
Well, all right. So you have the bilberries. Bang melted somebody. I'm sorry, Biner melted somebody. Moses has his stuff. Anything else anybody wants to do with the day? You got there kind of late in the afternoon, towards evening. Sun is starting to set, which of course means the place is just getting busier.
Yes. One last thing for the evening. I want to get to the telegraph office before they shut down for the night.
Okay, you get there shortly before they close. The guy behind the counter, at least the guy behind the free counter, gives you subtly, but gives you the sort of look that the people at the back of McDonald's give you when you show up at 9:58 and they close at 10, but still welcomes you in. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Still welcomes you in. He's like, welcome in, sir. What can we do for you?
I need to send a telegram.
Of course. Where do you need to send it?
Here you're complimenting my memory. Where is the Edelweiss's shop at? Marshall?
They never really clarified that. Alexander?
Desperately looking at his notes. Just make something up. We'll pencil it in.
Oh man, it's gonna be in I think it's in the Northeast. I think that would make sense for kind of all the farming that we do. You know what? Just to really mess with Sarah, we're gonna say Florida.
So Elizabeth went back to Florida, did she?
No. Elizabeth
She'd be gone for months.
went with Vixen for a little while and asked Vixen, since Vixen wasn't doing anything, to head towards Florida if she was willing to finish something up for her.
All right, so they would have. I misunderstood. I thought that she was heading back to their shop. So she was actually just going back to town.
She was going back to town. She felt that she could get away with being in, but like not the whole group.
Then that is where the telegram is going.
Okay.
And it is addressed to Miss Elizabeth Edelweiss. My condolences on the passing of your brother. You will be able to pick up his remains in the city of Tombstone.
Oh.
That makes sense. She knows he's not dead.
Unless, I don't think so.
She knows you didn't die in the train robbery.
I don't.
Because they were there for that part, right? They
Yep.
didn't leave until after, so yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I thought she was in town still for that.
Nope.
No, she was with us on the train, I believe.
Yeah, they didn't leave until after we got robbed.
Had rashes, I believe.
Oh yeah, no, actually that was correct. Remember, she wasn't with I gotta.
That is
keep better
right. She
notes on
had
this.
rashes.
Yep,
That
she had
is
the
correct.
rashes because of the
Right.
lack of labels.
Right. Right, yes. Somebody remembered, wasn't me.
Keep
So
better notes for later, probably.
yeah,
That was almost 3 weeks. That was a long break.
That was a while ago.
it's been a spell.
Yep. So Elizabeth will stay back in town, as far as anybody knows, actually innocent. Vixen went to check on Elizabeth, catch her up on what happened, and then get the fuck out.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll amend that slightly then. Keep the condolences for the loss of your brother.
Okay.
You can pick up his labels in Tombstone.
Ah,
Nice. Yep.
the dig.
That's,
I love
That's
it.
the secret. Yeah, the secret message, right?
The cookbook's a little confused, but
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
sent Stranger Things. I mean, he's had to, do the telegraph equivalent of a sext before. So, there are worse things to send. And
XOXO.
what are you wearing? 8 layers of clothing. That's so hot. So that and $2 will get the telegraph sent off.
$2 it is. And that way Elizabeth knows where we are and where to find and how to get to us.
Outstanding. So with that done, what's everybody doing for the evening? Hopefully not melting yet another person. Once
Nope.
is a strange accident.
Yep.
Twice
Yeah,
the marshals start to get curious.
We'll blame that. We'll blame the Herod if anybody asks. But I heard you're getting in trouble from 2 rooms away. So yeah, the only thing I'm doing is going getting a bottle from the bar, nice bottle of whiskey, going up to my room and doing the little piece of ghost rock on the table to heat up the whiskey and have the that smoky whiskey flavor. I keep looking at the calcified ghost rock and the whiskey, but not yet. So yeah.
We're not that desperate.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got to figure out how to content warning consummate this somehow. We got to figure. He's got a new girlfriend. He just hasn't figured out how to consummate yet. So he's gonna stick with the old one for tonight and just get drunk on warm whiskey and regular ghost rock smoke, dreaming of a calcified ghost rock and water and ghost rock gas grenade that he's going to make someday.
Time to start spreading the word that we're looking for a pair of pistols.
Yep. And how do you want to go about that?
Well, of course, the first place to do would be going to the various gun dealers and hawk shops and such places. Of course, making a stop at the marshal's office.
Okay. You make the rounds. What story are you spinning exactly? Are you trying to stay consistent about it or telling each one something slightly different?
That we have been hired by the Pinkertons.
Okay.
To seek out an antique pair of family heirlooms that were on the Silver Star train that have gone missing. Why are we looking in Tombstone? Well, Tombstone's a bit of a hub, so logic dictates that if they're going anywhere, they're going through Tombstone.
That works. It's not the first such tale that any of them have heard. God knows it won't be the last. And by the end of the night, the word is very well spread, and no doubt some other parties may be looking for these guns too to try and, snake you on the bounty. But that's just the nature of the business.
And that it is. And the more ears that hear it, the sooner we'll find the bastard.
Now, question for each person here, each character. How much time would any of them have spent in Tombstone? I imagine Bang may never have been there before.
Nope, not a chance.
Edward possibly might have stepped through. It's really, honestly, Lester more than Moses that I am most curious about because he's changed his hat, but not his face.
Well, the sun will do that for you.
That's fair.
Moses has never been to Tombstone. Lester has been through a number of times.
Okay. All right, so just for the chaos of it, a 1 through 5 on this D20 means somebody recognizes Lester, for better or for worse, while he's wandering around the town. No, in fact, that's the exact Why would you roll a 20 on me? So absolutely nobody at all comes anywhere close to, not even you look like somebody I know, the sort of thing that's totally not Lester, but somebody else who looks kind of like nothing.
You're mistaken for a famous priest.
That is correct. They do, those bastards. All right, so we've plastered the town with, or at least started the rumor about the guns to try and get ahead of Honest John. There's no rumors of John being in town. And let's see, Bang is dreaming about even more dangerous items, and Alexander is going to grow some sort of abomination that he's going to do terrible things with, and or his sister will do terrible things with, and then forget to label the bottle so you don't know which one it is.
Little shop of horrors with no labels.
Feed me, Edward. Feed me now.
Yeah. See, now the Buffy people have to dance.
Yep.
All right. Yes. Get burned by an ex-friend, start rumors about them. That is precisely how you solve problems.
It is. It is.
But as far as spreading the rumor goes, Alexander is going to kind of go where like the miners are at the bars and kind of spread a rumor about people looking for like legendary pistols and willing to pay handsomely for them. And that's kind of it.
Okay.
So it's just enough to kind of get a rumor started that might spread around miners who are looking for a quick buck.
Yep. And miners are always looking for a quick buck. So are gamblers, and honestly, everybody in Tombstone is looking for a quick buck.
That's why they're here, not in a legitimate city.
Yep. And you can guarantee some of the men and women of negotiable affection that are always nearby and ever present in a place like Tombstone, especially in the saloons and such, are definitely going to hear, and they gossip like old fishwives. So between the two of you, since Bang is high off his gourd, between the two functional of you, you really get the rumor mill going. But you're probably not going to get any bites or anything on it for a little bit yet. You did, from what it seems. Oh.
I like our chances.
Yeah. No, the chances are good. It seems like you definitely made it here before Honest John. There's no telling, what he's doing, if he stopped to consolidate, if he stopped to try and really sell the frame job. You're not sure, but he's not here yet. But like you said, this is like his favorite place to show up, at least recently, since it's really sprung up and started to take off. His favorite place to show up and be famous, as it were, to enjoy his own celebrity. And with that, do we have, before we wrap up, I think we're just getting close to time. For the evening, did we have any other last minute things we want to do before next week? And hopefully we have Elizabeth back with us.
Yeah, there's one more person that needs to know. Be on the lookout for Honest John, and I'm trying to remember the individual's name, but it slips my mind. But he's that mudraker from the Epitaph.
Oh yes, the mudraker.
I'm quite certain he'll be interested in knowing that there's a herald passing through, possibly by the name of Honest John Rackham.
Okay. Yep. You can get word to them. It's really not just one person, more of a contact for a small organization that dislikes the Herald intensely. But you get word through the right channels that it's going to take some. It's the kind of thing that there'll be some, hesitation on, because it is a famous figure, and there've been no reports of his death. But it will get the wheels spinning, and the chance to take down a herald like Honest John, of Honest John's stature, that's a tempting target. So there are definitely some interest, and a note, just hey, we're going to look into this. If this pans out, there may be a little bit of a finder's fee for it. And we'll keep you posted, because you seem to have an interest in this individual specifically. Along with the usual threat that if you wasted their time, somebody might break your kneecaps, but that just also sort of goes with the territory.
Of course it does.
All right. Anybody else?
Just vengeance dreams all night long.
Mm-hmm. All right, then. I think we can go ahead, and I've got a few minutes till we close, but it seems like a really good time to pull the curtain, as it were, until next week.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for bringing us back into the flow. It's been almost 3 weeks, except for our one that we did on the 23rd. So thank you for bringing us back. Nice lead-in. We got up to 5-6 days a week now for most of the next little while. So stay tuned. Pop back in then. And other than that, I want to thank you to Shadow, and to Nick, and to Bat Kyle. I appreciate all you guys coming out here every time we do this. It can be tough with only 3 players and a GM to carry a game, but we did it tonight. We filled all the space. We got all our I's dotted and T's crossed. We got a good plan in place. We'll get everybody back together next week. Get the gang's back together, and we will cause even more mayhem then. Until then, tune in just about every night. So thank you to these 3. Thank you to everybody in chat. It was nice to see you all pop in over the evening. As always, lots of nasty fun. Thank you. And,
I don't know why you make me do these things.
yeah, but this is to pay you back for all the times that you do this to other people. You've up until now you've been playing with impunity, and now finally they can fight back.
That's fair.
And thank you everybody on YouTube. In the distant future is when I finally remember to put this up there. Until next time, which is only tomorrow night this time. And boy, I'm looking forward to this. This break was great and it was wonderful, but man, I'm looking forward to playing a lot more. So until next time, please be nice to each other. Good night.
Okay, stay well, folks.
Yep.